Hello, my fellow FENERBAHÇE fans, and welcome to the first FENERBAHÇE English-based YouTube channel. My name is Sam. I've been a FENERBAHÇE fan for roughly about 18 years, and I came up with this idea of creating a YouTube channel specifically based on English for the FENERBAHÇE fans who live outside Turkey that speaks English. But mostly what I will be doing in the channel is going to be match analysis, Turkish media, what's happening with Turkish media about Fenerbahçe, transfer rumors as much as I can. And what else could we do is match analysis and in general, whatever goes on with our club. So firstly, I want to say, actually to start off with, is our coach issues. So there are some specific candidates that's just spread out on the media, at least one of them being Roma's ex-coach Francesca, and which I think he's a decent coach, but I'll get to that in a bit. There's another candidate in the name of Nenad Bielica, and Marco Silva is one of them too. These are the main three that's out there at the moment. However, Slevan Bilic was another candidate, but apparently there's some issues with that. I'll get into details. And there was another coach, which was Paulo Rossi, was it? No, there was another Portuguese coach. I can't remember now, but I'll get back to it the moment I remember. And in general, before I get back to the topic, I'll be discussing, or more like I'll be commentating on the whole thing, what happened a few days back with our ex-president's comments about the current board and etc., etc. So I'll start off with my personal opinion about our coaches. I mean, who would be our coach and who would be a fit candidate. And plus, I want to mention a bit about our last season with what happened, especially losing the championship in the last week wasn't really a good way to go out, in my opinion. But not generally in my opinion, but most Fenerbahçe fans, because it really sucked to lose in the last week. I mean, yes, we're kind of used to these last week losses, unfortunately, with what happened in the past. But that aside, so there are like about 5 to 6 candidates. Unfortunately, Rafa Benitez apparently signed with Everton. Those are the current rumors. So out of the guys I mentioned, namely, my personal pick would be Nenad Bielica, because just looking at his background in Dinamo Zagreb has been really important, because especially the fact that he nearly got out of the group stages, basically on a group of death. But unfortunately, apparently last season we were linked with him, but we didn't go for him about some wage issues. He was making about $1.5 million on Dinamo Zagreb, and he asked for 3 million or 3.5 million. So our president refused it. I'll get back to why I feel like he's the right coach for us, because he's been in a big club, specifically, I mean, close countries to Turkey, if you look at it, and the fan base and the pressure. And he's managed to do pretty well for himself. I think he'd do pretty good for us. And from what I've seen, because I've seen some Dinamo Zagreb matches and all, from what I've seen, he's not a coach that's specifically based on just maintaining a simple one formation. But the formations could change during the game, and like it could switch back to usually it starts off as 4-3-3. He's more of an offensive coach, but it could shift towards even 5 at the back throughout time. And in current day of modern football, I'm pretty sure everyone has realized that most coaches prefer to play 5 at the back, depending on how the match is going on. If you guys paid attention to Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, they were playing 5 at the back. When they're defending and attacking, it would be 3 at the back. It's almost like Koeman's Barcelona as well. Even Pep Guardiola, to a certain extent, plays usually it's 3 at the back, but then you could see they go back 5 at the back too. So I feel like he would be the right coach. This comment I've made it beginning of last season too, even halfway through last season during our subreddit discussions and all. I felt like he was the ideal coach for us last season as well. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't get him. But this season, even though apparently there were some pictures of him with the newly signed players for his current club, he was there in the pictures and photo shoots and all that stuff. It might be a bit far-fetched, but I feel like we could get him. It's a possibility because tomorrow, apparently, the Monday is supposed to be announcement of our new coach. I'll get back to Bielitsa in a bit again, but in media, apparently, Marco Silva is the one heavily linked with us, and apparently our board has had 3 meetings with him, which is a bit questioning. Now, I don't want to downplay Silva a lot. However, I'm not a huge fan of his too, because in Premier League, I tend to watch a lot of Everton's matches, kind of rooting for them as an underdogs, but his time at Hull City and Wolves wasn't that bad. Then he got to Everton, my bad. And despite the squad, he didn't really do that well, and then got sacked. Now, I know many people would say Ancelotti didn't even do much with the Tottenham squad, but in comparison, I mean, Ancelotti was playing more of an attacking football in Everton. Now, I couldn't watch all of the matches last season, so I can't really say did he play every match attackingly or no, but Silva's a bit different. And which personally, I don't think so. We should get Marco Silva. It's almost going to be like Errol Cloud again. But now I don't want to downplay Errol Cloud, mainly because he's not a bad coach, but at the moment, the inexperience doesn't make him specifically Fenerbahçe coach. I wish instead of we going for him or he picking us last season, he should have just went with. Apparently, he said he spoke with an Italian club, Hellas Verona. I might be mistaken that, but that's what I read. He should have just gone there and gained more experience, and maybe one day return back, with much more high caliber of status and achievements in the club that he would be coaching in Italy. But I mean, what's done is done. We can't do much. But again, certainly, and also about Marco Silva, he's more of a 4-3-2-1, was it, or 4-2-3-1 formation, like the typical that most Turkish teams line up. It's the same as that, and he's heavily into that formation. Rest, I don't really have a lot of career background on him, other than I know that he's coached Wolves, Hull City, and Everton. Yes, I've managed to follow him a bit in Everton, but not much. So, from all the names I mentioned, I think he's the least favorite, not only from my opinion, but most of the fan base is also not really too high on him. I mean, unfortunately, our fan base is a bit harsh on coach deciders, because I saw some comments about Rafa Benitez even not being enough, which I can kind of understand, but looking at his past achievements, it's a bit of a downplay to the coach himself as well. But anyways, he's already most likely going to be Everton's new coach. And there's another coach candidate, which is Paolo Fonseca. I feel like he's an okay coach. For me, again, I already mentioned my personal opinion with Nenad Bielitsa. Fonseca is a bit like 50-50 on me, at least from what I've seen. The way Roma plays is not, it's an okay football, but at the moment, if our board wants to satisfy the fans, they really need to bring a proper coach that plays attacking football. Now, again, I'm not like different type of fans that they would go on to say, hey, Fenerbahçe should play attacking football and we should dominate every game. Yes, in heart, I want that, but in reality, that's a really tough thing to perform because most teams close up against us. And our attacking football, yes, we do a lot of shooting, passing, etc., but then, after like 45 minutes, we're down 1-0 because of like one bad counterattack, and then, we concede. So that's how it goes. So back to Fonseca. I mean, looking at his time at Shakhtar Donetsk, I mean, he was pretty good. But then, we got to look into that, to the roots of Shakhtar, where Miro Lucescu, he actually built a proper foundation for the club itself. I mean, see, I'm not trying to downplay Francesca, but then most coaches who go to Shakhtar end up being successful because there's like 2-3 teams that dominate the league, and then again the same person created a proper foundation for the club. Yes, last season they couldn't win the league, if I'm not mistaken, because Lucescu ended up going to Dynamo Kiev, and then literally they won both of the cups. But the point is, it's a system. Once you have the right system and the coach is suited for that system, then it works out. And to be honest, I don't think so we have a proper system in the team. We haven't had that in a while. The last time we actually had somewhat of a decent system was with Dick Advocat. I mean, we even did pretty decent in Europe and all that stuff too. League, yes, it wasn't that great, but we didn't have a decent player base. But he was a good coach tactically. Vitor Pereira was okay too, not too bad, not too great. Maybe we could have stayed, we could have given him more time, but that is for another day's topic. Back to Francesca. His last stint with Roma wasn't that great. I don't really firmly follow Roma a lot, but from what I've seen a couple of times in Europa League matches and all that stuff, he's an okay coach. But the thing is, I'm not sure if he's gonna fit into our club. Like, yes, sometimes the coach might be great, but then they might fail too, because we've seen that with our past coaches. Even with a great career, they come here and you don't really see much out of it. Now, another key fact about Francesca, if I'm not mistaken, he was at Olympiacos as well. I might be mistaken there, but I remember reading it, that he coached Olympiacos as well, and ended up winning the league over there or something. I just need to search for it real quick. I'll get back to it. And mainly, he's not my candidate to be for our team, to coach our team. Well, no, apparently he wasn't coaching Olympiacos. It was, Shakhtar, Roma, Braga, Porto. Right, so yeah, I think I must have mistaken for the other coach that they had. Another Portuguese coach, my bad on there. However, and he's another coach that likes to play 3 at the back. Mostly it's 3-4-2-1. Sometimes it changes, but last season's Roma wasn't that great, especially against bigger teams. They couldn't really bite their way out of it. Most of the times they end up drawing or losing. But then again, Roma's squad keeps on changing most of the season, so you can't really be saying much about it. So, again, out of the names I mentioned, Francesca would be probably the second coach, number 2 after Bielitsa. If it's not going to happen, then, what's the best we got? Francesca would be the second ideal, at least not for me, but again, who am I to judge? I'm not a master tactician or anything. However, rumors that got spread out a week back ago, apparently Tottenham contacted him, and they couldn't agree with him on the financial terms, and then he wants about like 5 million or 4.5 million from us. No, sorry, I think he wanted like 4 million from Tottenham, and he wanted 5.5 to 6 million from Fenerbahçe, which I think is too high. And again, 6 million is way too high for us to pay, especially in this debt situations and all that. I mean, if we could somewhat agree on like 4.5 million, even 4, I guess it's okay. But there's still risks when you're paying a coach a lot of salary, high wages. And we saw that with Philip Cocu. He didn't last a lot. To be honest, he wasn't a bad coach, because during his time at PSV, he was even linked with Barcelona to be a replacement, because he could play that tactic, but it didn't work out with us. About the other candidates, so we mentioned 3 so far. There was Paulo Rossi, and there was another Portuguese coach. I can't really remember. Yeah, okay, it was Andres Villas Boas or Bosch, depends on how you say it. So Paolo Rossi, I don't have a lot of clue about him. If I'm not mistaken, he was the Poland national team's coach. And just viewing Poland's Europe stint this week only, it wasn't that great. But however, Poland the national team isn't. They don't really have a lot of. Other than Lewandowski and Szczesny as a keeper, they have that center back Glick, and they had that Piotr Zielinski. They have a limited amount of players, so you can't really be saying you can't really be expecting much. I just realized it's not Marco Rossi. I might have mistaken the name, so that's totally my bad. He's Hungary's coach. I just realized it. Paulo Sousa, it was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it was Paulo Sousa. I just made a big mistake. My bad. I apologize for that. But yeah, again, my apologies over that mistake with Marco Rossi and Paulo Sousa mistaken. But to be honest, by any chance, if Marco Rossi could be a possibility to happen for Fenerbahce, I feel like he'd be a pretty good coach for us too. Highly chance of being successful as well. But back to Paulo Sousa. Again, a good coach to a certain extent. But the thing is he willing to leave Poland, the Polish national team? Because from the rumors that I've seen, at least the news and all that stuff, that the Poland national teams or Poland Football Federation's president ended up saying that they don't want to part ways with him. He's pretty good for the national team and they want to continue their ways with him. So it seems like it's out of the way, but from at least from what I know, I remember his team, basically how his team would play in Fiorentina. Again, there's some personal stuff about me. I like to watch underdog teams in different leagues. So teams like Everton, then Fiorentina, Atalanta, and etc. Such teams are pretty enjoyable to watch, depending on the way they're playing too as well. So his stint at Fiorentina was pretty decent. Again, this is my personal opinion because everyone's football viewing could be different. Sometimes you could see, we're playing an awesome football and someone else will say, hey, this is not really that cool, overrated. That's totally understandable because so everyone has a different opinion and all you can do is just respect their opinion, even if you disagree or agree. That's just how it is. In the end of the day, we're not all the same, so yeah. So with that being said, I feel like out of the candidates that I just mentioned, the best would be Nenad Bielica. Again, most of the coaches I mentioned, they tend to play 3 at the back formation with 4 midfielders. So it's more like a 3-4-2-1, depending on the players as well. But again, what I feel like is required, because we don't have a high budget. I know that a lot of our fans would like to get bigger coaches, bigger names, such as, I'll just throw it like Antonio Conte, which is a great coach, but impossible at this moment. It's not even like a dream at this point. It's far beyond dream. Dreams, even to a certain extent, could be happening, but with our current financial situations and all that stuff, it's impossible to get him. Even let's say we got him by any chance, somehow the sponsorships, etc. We're not going to be able to build a team he wants because he's a coach that wants to have a lot of budget. Even because of the budget issue, Inter Milan decided to cut off on the budget, and he disagreed with that and left Inter. Then apparently Tottenham contacted him, and then he ended up, he's a pretty bold coach as well, straightforward, and he said, I don't really think so, Tottenham can compete with the topper teams having much better squads and much better players in general. So that being said, again, I think Bielitsa should be the right coach for us because again, since we don't have much of a budget, we won't be able to buy like specific players. So we need a coach that can actually handle the team that there is at the moment, the existing team, and work on with that. But again, because I feel like we're pretty much able to play since from last season's football with our sportive director Emre being our coach. We played actually pretty decent football in the final weeks, except the Sivas game, which I don't want to mention it. It's just depression all over that. But in general, the Erzurum match and I can't remember the other matches now that we played a lot of passing and all that stuff. Like in general, that's how we're supposed to be playing at least. And I feel like Bielitsa is the one who can perfect that style. And again, we got to keep in mind the teams he's coached, Dinamo Zagreb, and the team he's coaching right now. It's actually the team where he's the town he's born at. It's the same team that he's coaching currently. So with a low budget, he's successful. And again, I would maybe on the other episodes or on other videos and all that stuff, I'll try to explain a bit more in depth if he becomes our coach. But then tomorrow is going to be announced, most likely. At least that's what our president said, that we're going to be announcing it on Monday. So at least I'm hoping it will be announced tomorrow, and I'll be giving out more of my opinion on that. Before making it too long, I'll get back to I'll just view our last season a bit. Let's talk about it a bit, then move on to with what happened with our ex-president's speech the other day, and which parts he's right and which parts he's wrong. At least, again, this is my opinion and my view of how things go or how things should be. But yeah, about last season, we were pretty much the favorites to win the league, to a part with our squad and all that stuff. But I feel like our first mistake was actually the players we bought to the team. Because I've seen how Erol Cloud played in Alanyaspor and Malatyaspor. It's a different style, We brought a specifically based on counter-attacking coach. Now, people say he's a defensive coach. He is, but he's more based on counter-attacks as well. Just imagine a French national team against Germany. They did attacking a bit, but mostly they were just waiting for the right moment to counterattack. They did the same. They were dominating in a way against Hungary, but then they couldn't score. So what happened was they counterattacked, and when Hungary was taking a corner, so they counterattacked and scored. So we're kind of playing like that under him. Yes, there were some matches we played decent, but again, the first thing was the how we built up our team. Completely, most of the transfer we did were wrong, because again, if you look at his team on Alanyaspor, it was more heavily based on players that could defend, and they were like more pacey players. Because if you look at in Alanyaspor, the midfield lineup, most of the players, yes, they didn't have anyone technical as Sosa. Salih is pretty good. I'm not going to say anything, but Sosa's way ahead. However, their midfield was much faster than compared to ours. So that should be a thing to keep in mind. And instead we got Sosa, we had Gustavo, and Mert Hakan was there. Pelkas is there, which one of my personal favorites at the moment. Great player, awesome personality. He shows his aggression even in the game. But the thing is, first of all, wrong transfers, because what we lacked, in my opinion, as much as I like Sosa, but I feel like we needed a more younger and a faster player in the midfield. But we saw that in the first Galatasaray match, the Galatasaray derby at their Galatasaray's home. He played Ozan as a central attacking mid. At the beginning of the season, he actually tried that a lot. It was good because we needed someone to go out with the pace, but then he stopped playing Sosa from time to time. And in Erol Bulut's system, it's a different football. We're not really meant to be holding the ball that often, like that we saw with Emre and Ersun Yanal, or past coaches that were mainly maintained on possession game. But with his, it's a different style. Yes, it's a boring. It was a pretty boring to watch. I'll be honest. But I remember I made a comment uh, somewhere between like sixth or seventh week that our fans were complaining about how our matches were being going on. It's boring, yes, but I commented that on our subreddit that I know that it's boring, but then we have to bear with it because we need to be champions no matter how we do it, whether playing bad or good. But then this is what's needed, and I feel like we should have tolerated that. And we, to a certain extent, we did. But the home losses. Now I'm not saying he's a bad tactician. He's okay, but again, I feel like he should have just brought his own staff with him, maybe a bit more successful. But then again, what has happened, and just as I mentioned, it was a wrong squad that we built. I mean, if Emre was planning to build this team, then I feel like he should have been the coach all along to be coaching that specific team because it would have fit his way of seeing football and playing football. Because if you bring a different coach, then he had to. I mean, as far as I remember, Pelkas was he's asking, and Cisse was he's asking too. Now I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like we should have just played Cisse all along. Yes, he was horrible, but then at least he could have scored more than Samata. I mean, technically they're both the same way. They miss a lot of shots and all, but I feel like he should have just been the. Yes, again, this is an unpopular opinion. Fenerbahçe. I mean, he's not our caliber of a striker. He's 35, whatever. But after seeing Samata's disastrous performance, Tiam was okay, but Tiam is a player that likes to that needs space. He's an open space player. If every team played openly against us, then Tiam would have already scored like 20, 25 goals. But that wasn't the case. And another thing, I like Irfan a lot, but I feel like what we needed instead of well, technically I can't even say instead because of the whole this foreign players stuff, but I think like we should have at least been able to spare some more cash buying a striker on on the transfer season. Or I felt like we should have just put Valencia as a striker. Again, just bench Samata, but I kind of understand that they wanted to give him more chances, but I just don't know what went wrong with him. In general, I don't understand what's wrong with our strikers. All the top strikers we buy, like they just don't perform. I mean, Slimani, that was just like those most horrific stuff that I'd seen. Literally, the misses I still remember those misses, and then after missing, he'd smile. Oh my goodness! I mean, but. I guess since we got Serdar Dursun this season, I feel like he should be a good striker. But anyways, different videos I'll try to explain what in depth on what went wrong with our last season. I mean, that is if you guys would be interested on hearing it. I'll get back to what happened on this couple of days back with our ex-president Aziz Yildirim, and I'll try to do it a bit short. And maybe do another video about it, again with in-depth, because I don't want this to be a really long video and I don't want to bore off anyone. I'll just start off with his rights. Is mainly, I'd say, the coaching picks. At least, he didn't mention it that way, but with what he mentioned was about the things that Ali Koç has promised us, and he didn't really go on with it. And I agree on another term that we shouldn't have gotten the players that we sold back or gave away back and brought them back, such as one of them being Volkan Bowler or Honey, which is in like English way of saying it. Caner I was okay with, but then I would be still fine if we didn't get him back. It's just like the players they sold and we got them back. And this whole, the Big Brother stuff, that should have never happened, in my opinion. Our president should have never let that happen in the first place. But again, it is what it is, I guess, at this point. There's no point of looking back and grieving over it. It has happened. But I agree with that part of his speech. And another thing I would say is, just a moment. His comments about... I can't find the article. I remember I listened to it, but just being forgetful sometimes. And mainly about, let's see, our our board members with Ali Koch. He's kind of right about it, because all I see, I mean, at least this is what I see. So maybe they are working hard, so I don't want to be too ungrateful or harsh on other people's work, but it's just all Ali Koch doing this stuff from what we've seen now. Aziz Yıldırım's board members were pretty rich and strong people in general. So that I agree. I wish we had a couple more strong board members, at least a bit more rich members to maybe help us out financially. And the other couple of things, maybe, all the failures that happened in the past 3 years sort of had been linked with Aziz Yıldırım's debts and all that stuff. To a certain extent, I would agree, but not more than that, because Aziz Yıldırım has a fair point as well, that they shouldn't have mentioned his name throughout every failure. However, and as much as there's rights, but there's a lot of wrong things as well that he mentioned. It was almost like a game of chess while he was commentating, and unfortunately, from what I'm seeing, the fan base has been divided to two, which damages our club, which is sad, because these are the moments that we actually need to be all together and close to each other, and give our full support to the team, to the club. But now it's divided, and with whatever, I mean, at this point it's like everyone's waiting for the current board to fail so they could bash, which I don't think so it's right, because in the end of the day, if we don't support our club, then we're not supporting a team or our club specifically for the coach or for a player or for a president. I mean, they all go and come, it's just like that. You get a new coach, you get a new president, but what stays is the club and its history and us, the fans. So I feel like what we should do is just give our full support and full trust. Yes, we should be criticizing, but not every single thing to every part of details on it. But yeah, back to the point. Firstly, the whole stuff that he said, Ramos is free and, Marcelo is free. Now, I understand during his presidency time, we got a lot of superstars. Anelka, Hoydong, Roberto Carlos, Alex, David, Apia. These are great players, big players. Not just that, but they were really beautiful to watch, and we were just mesmerizing to watch Alex alone. So you can't really say much. However, back then there was no such thing as this financial fair play. There was no such thing as transfer limits, etc., etc. So it was much more easier, and the Turkish lira had much more higher value compared to today's timing. Unfortunately, I respect Aziz Yıldırım. 20 years of one's life has been given to the club, but again, I feel like maybe you shouldn't have been too harsh. Yes, criticize a bit, but not this harsh. And yes, but the thing is, we can't afford such players. Yes, of course, we all want to see big players in Fenerbahçe and all that stuff, but with 500 million euros of depth, and basically, if last season we won the league, it would have been a bit more helpful financially. Even our Ali Koch, he mentioned that as well. It was a big blow to lose. It was it's not much compared to Premier League's revenues and all that stuff and winning the league, but at the end of the day, it would have been helpful to get a bit more high caliber player. But again, back to the point is, it's impossible to get such players. And if you look at it, Ramos is, if Ramos, let's say, he wouldn't come to Turkey or to Fenerbahçe, unfortunately, because PSG wants him. Apparently, I'm not sure, but there were some rumors about Liverpool too. But let's say, he agreed to come. How much would his, everything would cost? Minimum, it would be 20 million euros. Minimum. And, Ramos is a great defender, no doubt. One of the best in the history of football. But 20 million euros in such moment. Yes, I know that, Ali Koch is rich, etc., etc. But the thing is, in Premier League, I'll just give an example. City is owned by a specific person, so they can straightforward give money out of their pockets in a way. Or at least it's much more easier for them. But for us, it's not like that, because basically the club is owned by the fans, and that's just how it is. Fenerbahce is basically Fenerbahce is owned by the fans, right? That's the whole thing, the ideology. So, but again, the whole thing with the transfers and downplaying Serdar Dursun and let's say, who else did they say, Irfan and all that stuff. It was just wrong, I mean, he's supposed to be a bigger brother to the current board. Yes, I know sometimes people don't take losing lightly. It's a normal thing. We're all humans in the end of the day, right? No one's perfect. But it was too harsh to downplay other players, because if you look at it, they had signed at least he's like top scorer in Bundesliga, second league of Bundesliga 2. He was the top scorer, Serdar Dursun. If you look at it that way, I mean, I remember seeing the ads of even one member of during the elections day, or the day before that. He even mentioned it. We saw these ads for getting Robben and Messi, and then they brought in Atif Sheishu, and then if you look at it, there was a lot of lackluster transfers during his timing as well. So it's not quite. Plus, in comparison, we're in a different timeline with different financial situations and all that stuff. So, another point I highly disagree is the whole supporting thing about with the current Turkish Football Federation's president, because with all the thing that's been happening, I mean, yes, there are times we play bad, but referees are horrible. I mean, anyone that has seen our matches could pretty much say like what's right and wrong. You don't have to be a bias. You can say this objectively as well. Even if you don't support any team, you see the referees make a lot of mistakes, and a lot of mistakes mostly towards us, unfortunately. And yes, it has costed a lot. It has costed us a lot. We played bad football. We did this and that, but in the end of the day, referees also affected our games and our matches too, which, well, I'm not going to get to the whole championship stuff, but, again, I would get into it too in depth and all that stuff, but, I guess I might be a bit too harsh, because after what he said about the whole stuff with the president of Football Federation and all that stuff, it brings out a lot of conspiracies. Now, I don't want to get too in depth in that today, but maybe some other day I'll try to analyze it a bit more. Again, I wish when he got into that that giving speech to the media, criticize all the failures and all that stuff, but complaining us about the transfer stuff to specific federations and all, that's just upsetting. I mean, he's supposed to be our great president, right? He's respected by, yes, I mean, his last years there was a lot of mistakes and all that stuff, but in the end of the day, he should have been different. At least what I was expecting, he would be, yes, he was going to be really, really strong and harsh towards them, but at least, he could have said much more different words to reunite the whole, the fan base, instead of dividing it, and say, yes, you guys have done mistakes, but, as a big brother and a former president of the club with experience, I'd like to help you guys out with my experience, and again, as a big brother with the whole situation, and, this whole fighting, this whole personalities and clashing of egos would just be altered and gone, and then, the club would be the winner alongside the fans, and at least we would be reunited, and we'd all stop with like Ali Koch president, or Aziz Yildirim president, or this coach or this player and that. It's just damaging the whole club in general. But that's that from me for now. It's about like roughly 40 minutes of recording. Just let me know if it's too long. I'll try to make it much shorter. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll try to keep up with more update in the next few days. If tomorrow the coach gets announced, I'll definitely make analysis over it and give my opinion. And I'd like to know you guys' opinions too. Who are you too keen to see as a coach? And what do you expect from the season in general? So thanks for listening. I'll try to make video versions of it too sometime in the future. It's my first time recording such things, so I'm a bit inexperienced. Bear with me, and I apologize if the quality and all that stuff is bad, but I'll try to improve in time. And so I hope you guys have a great day, and take care and stay safe, everyone. Again, thanks for listening.